Hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello from my heart to yours.
See the same people every other day, but we never say hey, cause we're never looking the way, or my face was in my notebook, we passed each other, didn't look. But these are the people of the towns, of the towns, the towns, of the towns. And large cities are just a bunch of big small towns, overlapping side by side, big small towns. I see new people every day. Everyone's on their way, doing the things that fill their day, and I'm going places too, doing the things that I do with my time. We are the people of the towns, of the towns, the towns, of the towns. And large cities are just a bunch of big small towns, diagonal, top to bottom, big small towns. Be nice to the people of the towns, once in a while look around, cause what's going around's coming around. What came around's coming around. What's going around's coming around. Big, 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 small towns. Word gets around in the big small towns. Big, 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 small towns. Word gets around in the big small towns. Big, 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 small towns. Word gets around in the big small towns.
Hey everybody, welcome to Downballot. We do this show most Tuesdays, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. Simulcasting to other places that do not matter, except our Icecast at eplex.xyz. That's always a great place to tune in while you're on a jog or making yourself a nice, healthy, or not so healthy meal. Anyway, if you want to support this project, it is listener, viewer supported or whatever, so you could go to echoplexmedia.com, click the support link at the top of the homepage, and make your own decisions from there. People on Twitch, you know how the monetization works here. I'm producer Dave. You can find me on Blue Sky at Plex-Dave. And welcome, co-host. Wait a minute, hold on.
Dave. Oh, sorry. Am I here?
That was me.
Am I there?
That was me.
Okay.
Fucking professional production here. Welcome, co-host.
One day we'll have to do a whole show about how good this show sounds, really. Good to see you as always, producer Dave. This is the Councilman. You can find me on the Blue Sky space at PJ Allen 2. That's PJALLENTWO. And you can also find me waiting for my Echoplex Media tote bag, which I should get for my subscription. I mean, KQED and PBS get these things out pretty regular. So, and whenever I get that tote bag, I'm going to be rocking it at Safeway, no doubt. Which is waiting patiently. Anyway, yes, please go and subscribe and give us all the dollars, because we absolutely need dollars to keep this show going and keep all the other wonderful programming on Echoplex Media going, including public comment and everything else that you hear here. So, and of course, the Sunday show, where again, I debuted, I think 10 years ago this month. So I'm still getting really excited about that. All right. Good to see you again, producer Dave. We had a week respite. So there's plenty of fun stuff to discuss, and we can jump right into it.
Right. What do we have for leading off?
Well, something you might be able to tell me more about than I know. There was some sort of influencer who came to San Francisco just for funds and ended up causing like a near riot. And the good wife and I were watching this on the news and wondering, who the fudge is this guy? But, apparently lots of people know. And it's like one of those things where, you never get the feeling something's going on you just don't know anything about. Well, this is one of those moments.
Wild scenes throughout the day today and into the evening on the streets of San Francisco and Oakland as a popular live streamer toured the city with throngs of his fans clamoring to keep up with his every move and at times creating chaos in their wake. IShowSpeed is the streamer's name, and he's got tens of millions of followers on YouTube. NBC Bay Area's Alyssa Gord explains while the visit was welcomed by his fans, it may have been baffling and disruptive to others.
Pier 39 in San Francisco overrun with hundreds of people all clamoring to see the streamer, Darren Watkins Jr., who's visiting the city as part of a cross-country tour. His YouTube channel, IShowSpeed, has more than 44 million followers, and all over the city, he and his crew were surrounded by people screaming his name and trying to catch a glimpse. Exciting, but also chaotic. At one point, he took over the Embarcadero, jumping on the roof of his SUV, greeting the crowd, signing autographs. Minutes later, fans were running through the streets after his car, other drivers forced to stop, getting caught in the chaos. Wild at times, but also welcomed by many.
Weddings, everything's here. It's beautiful.
He started off the day streaming a tour of City Hall with Mayor Daniel Lurie. In addition to Pier 39, he visited the Golden Gate Bridge and Chinatown, visiting businesses along the way like Golden Gate Fortune Cookie Company.
Appreciation what he did for us, for the city, by coming in. As you can see, a lot of followers all over the place.
While things are quiet now, the business says that earlier when IShowSpeed was here, this alleyway was filled with hundreds of people. As IShowSpeed weaved through the city, some of those crowds followed his crew on foot, on bikes, on scooters, and in cars. One biker who was following him did get hit by another car that sped off. It was only a distraction. Police also had their hands full managing the crowds. Officers on the Golden Gate Bridge tried to control traffic and tell drivers to keep moving.
Never thought I was ever seeing face to face like that.
It really is inspiring seeing someone you look up to in person.
Yeah.
As for IShowSpeed, he had rave reviews for San Francisco.
I love the Bay. We turn up. It's lit. It's been the littest city I've been to this whole tour.
In San Francisco, Alyssa Gord, NBC, Bay Area News.
Yeah, I have no idea who the fuck that is.
And man, I thought you were going to help me figure it out. I had never heard of this dude before either, but apparently we're littest. So is that like being the 69th best podcast in California? Like being the littest according to IShowSpeed?
I think what we would do if we did a tour of San Francisco, people would avoid us on purpose.
They'd be like, don't go.
Certainly wouldn't get
to those
FaceTime with the mayor.
So say you were an influencer. I mean, you are. To me, at least, you're an influencer, producer Dave. I look up to you.
Thank you for both complimenting and insulting me at the same time. This is the kind of rapport that we've grown together with over the years. So,
if you were an influencer and you went to, say, San Francisco, where would you go? What would your top 3 stops be?
I'd probably just go to lunch in the Castro.
Right. Well, we might get to that later, but I don't particularly know. I probably the hate. I go to the Sunset and check out the night market, like we'll talk about later, and Yeah, maybe the
Not for nothing,
Presidio.
I hope
or
they catch
the
that
North Beach.
asshole in the Audi that ran that bicyclist over, because that's like that wasn't like an accident. That dude fucking assaulted, battered, and could have killed that guy with his car.
100%, and it's on video, so hopefully they did. They were able to get him. I hope that the dude does, try to track the person down who hit him. That's ridiculous. I understand, you're frustrated by, something you don't understand, getting in your way in the way of your commute, and driving around San Francisco is a pain in the ass already. But first, you shouldn't be driving in San Francisco. I think IShowSpeed probably figured that out pretty quick, because it looked like he ended up on the top of his car a few times. You shouldn't be driving, period, regardless of whether you've got throngs of fans chasing you.
The bus stop would have been mayhem, though, right?
Right. Well, there were dudes like popping wheelies you saw like on the Muni tracks, so Muni was probably disrupted as well. So that's definitely true. But yeah, no need for that. No need to assault people with your car just because you're upset because you can't get to your freaking foot massage.
I saw a video once. It was during a protest where this lady got out of the car and she told this kind of big guy, she's like, "Hey, I'm afraid." And the big guy just got everybody out of the way and fucking was directing the people and shit so she could drive out of the protest. So if the guy in the car would have got out and said to the guy on the bike, "Hey, man, I don't know what's going on here. I got to get out of here. Can you get out of the way of my car?" The person on the bike would have gone, "Oh, yeah, sure."
Yeah, I'll be like, you got to go pick up your kid at school. You're going to be late. You're going to get charged extra by the daycare. That's fine. I understand. But yeah, exactly. Explain yourself, and no need to run over bicyclists. We cover enough injured bicycle injuries from car and other vehicular
we tend not
accidents
to cover
on the
that,
show.
Actually, but the news sure does.
We try not to, unless it has a political impact, as in when Sam Liccardo got hit on the bike. That obviously is down ballot worthy. But yeah, we don't like to include that stuff on the show unless it's part of another story. But yeah, IShowSpeed. I don't know who you are, but I respect that you've got people willing to walk in the streets of San Francisco to follow you around. I wish, sometimes I wish I had that kind of following, and then I realized that they might start, mimicking what I do, and that would be dangerous for all of society.
Something about a third of that size would be good, right? Because it's sustainable, but it's not crazy.
Right.
And then you're doing good. You're doing good. He would have 44 million. So a third of that is what? 14, 15 million, something.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, the expectation levels get so high, right? I think about someone like an AOC who's got tens of millions or hundreds of millions of followers, right? In the social space.
She's a member of the United States House of Representatives, so famous off of social media as well.
She's getting all sorts of that. So I can't even imagine having that kind of influence or being able to send out a Blue Sky post and have even more than whatever the 100 people that are subscribed to my account read it, right? Thinking of tens of millions, I'd be afraid of typos, or just saying the wrong thing or the wrong hashtag. Not that these guys care at all about spelling. I mean, IShowSpeed is this guy's handle, so he just really. What does that mean exactly? But apparently, we are the littest. That's really cool to hear. But I didn't even know that was an adjective. So really cool to hear that we're the littest spot, or at least SF is the littest spot he's visited. I wonder where else he's been.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious to watch his video about San Francisco, but not that curious. Not curious enough to watch his video about San Francisco.
We could. How about this? I will go dig it up and watch it, and then we can decide if we want to do a whole episode devoted to IShowSpeed and his world tour. That might be down ballot worthy. I mean, there's really just a special election coming up. There's not a whole lot going on in California in the Bay, but and things are just popping off everywhere. But we would have time to devote a whole show to IShowSpeed. But then again, maybe that would give him more popularity, and maybe he's not looking for that. Maybe he's trying to downgrade. Right.
He doesn't need our large following.
Doesn't need our boost, right? Yeah. Anyway, so, the down ballot bump isn't what it used to be anyway.
Let's move on into winners and losers, where there are no winners unless you liked somebody and then they probably got fucked over. This first story, I already have some thoughts, but I think we should just maybe let this first story run. This is about a car accident that happened in Napa County that ICE is blaming on sanctuary city policies.
Let's do it.
Situation, but to blame it on sanctuary policies is misguided.
Tonight, ICE officials are blaming California sanctuary laws for a suspected DUI crash that killed 6 farm workers in Napa County earlier this month. Good evening, I'm Amma Dates.
And I'm Dan Ashley. Thanks for joining us. This is a story we're following very closely. The criticism is part of a statement about the crash released by Immigration and Customs Enforcement today.
Tonight, several immigration experts are responding. ABC 7 News reporter J.R. Stone is following the story. Joins us live with the details. J.R.
Amma, Dan, I spoke with several professors this evening who have studied sanctuary policies and impacts. Not one of them agrees with the ICE statement put out. Loreto Ricardo Hernandez is one of 6 farm workers who was killed in this DUI crash on Pope Valley Road in Napa County earlier this month as the group traveled from Stockton. We previously spoke with his family, who is still waiting for the first step towards justice. The driver of the crash survived and at last check was still in the hospital. ABC 7 News is not naming the driver as he has not yet appeared in court. Now an ICE spokesperson has issued a statement referring to the driver, suspected of DUI and in turn facing 6 murder charges. He is a criminal alien from Mexico who first entered the United States in 1995. Since his first illegal entry, he has been arrested several times for possession of cocaine, multiple DUIs, and removed multiple times from the United States. He repeatedly entered our country unlawfully after being removed in violation of our laws. Unfortunately, due to his continued disregard for the laws within the United States and California's sanctuary laws has led to this tragic incident. Sanctuary laws continue to place the American public in danger and only protect the criminal aliens. But multiple professors who specialize in immigration disagree. Here's Bill Hing, founding director of the Immigration and Deportation Defense Clinic at the University of San Francisco.
It's a tragic situation, but to blame it on sanctuary policies is misguided. Let's assume that he had been removed many times before. When somebody comes back to the United States, it's the responsibility of the federal government to figure that out.
Sanctuary laws are designed to limit law enforcement's cooperation with ICE. Associate Professor Lauren Collingwood at the University of New Mexico quoted his 2019 study, saying research more often than not shows sanctuary policies produce either no change or a decrease in crime. Hing says it's wrong to blame what happened here on the driver being undocumented.
Being undocumented is not what led to the incident. What led to the incident is whatever social and economic factors might have been relevant in this situation.
Still, though, ICE standing behind their statement and saying that the driver used multiple aliases with different ages as a way to stay clear of authorities. The driver here is scheduled to be in court Tuesday, but that has been postponed in the past because he was still in the hospital. His current health condition is unclear.
So I have no idea if ICE is even telling the truth about the driver. Several different identity. What is this, like an Inspector Gadget? Like, getting a fake identity now is like really hard.
Yeah, it's not like when I was in college and we got fake IDs to go buy liquor, right? At the local store that would just look at your fake ID and be like, well, I know this is fake, but whatever. Yeah, it's definitely challenging. It sounds like ICE is just playing the blame game and trying to deflect from the fact that they failed to do their job. If this guy's such an awful person and he's been repeatedly thrown out and come back into the country, sounds like ICE is not really pulling their own weight, and they're just trying to blame local law enforcement and California's California policy and anyone else basically other than themselves, and looking themselves in the mirror. But again, I agree with Professor Hing. Like, this is, it's the fact that this person is undocumented is frankly irrelevant to the entire conversation. I mean, it's a tragic conversation because people died, and whether he's responsible or not, it has nothing to do with him being undocumented. It has everything to do with him potentially being intoxicated or just being a really bad driver. And that's certainly something that all of us are prone to, no matter whether we're documented or not. So yeah, it's just more deflection, more blame game, more setting up the doom loop narrative that, that eventually Donald Trump will use to send in the National Guard to all of our cities and basically try to take over California by way of a military coup. So it's part and parcel. It tracks. It's all on brand. It just doesn't really fly when it comes to logic.
The other thing is, like, this doesn't really, like, if you, like, I look at this and I'm like, well, people shouldn't be driving drunk. Like, this is like, it doesn't matter. Like, you should not be driving when you've been drinking. And this is, they're like almost, it almost like takes away from the actual cause of the accident, which is drunk driving. Like, ICE as an organization should probably be saying something about how you shouldn't drink and drive, like in their press release. Like, and even if they say some nasty shit or whatever and go, let the be a warning to all of you that you should never get behind the wheel of a car when you were impaired, because people's lives are in your hands. Even if you're driving alone, not everybody in the world is in your car. But nope, ICE ain't gonna do that. They don't care if you get killed by a drunk driver.
100%. And regardless of people in your car, right? You're also a danger to everyone on the road, and anyone who's not even in a car on the road, right? Or anyone out there. You're
a danger to a local business, possibly. Structure.
Right. Structures, exactly. We cover that quite a bit too on Downballot. I will absolutely 100% admit to getting behind the wheel of a car when I should not have been behind the wheel of a car. It has happened. And it can happen to any of us, and we all need to be better. To segue this into some sort of immigration and naturalization argument, it's just playing into the message and the branding they're trying to create, and they're trying to propagate. And unfortunately, it works, and people do buy into it. And especially if if you're bored enough to read the next door comments, this is a narrative that tracks. It's either undocumented immigrants, it's unhoused individuals, it's people of color, it's low-income people. It's you name it. Like, folks these days are going to find any kind of scapegoat they can for the tragedies that persist in our society because of social ills, not because of any sort of political or policy constraints or manipulations. It really is. We've got a lot of social issues we need to deal with. From guns to alcohol and drug abuse to you name it, right? So just more deflection and more gaslighting. It sounds like as we'd come to expect from ICE, from the federal government right now. It's just, and again, once again, it's who's it impacting and who does it hurt? It tragic. It increases the tragedy and re-triggers the families of the 6 people who died. These are real people who lost their lives, not because the driver of the car was undocumented. In fact, they were probably all undocumented when it comes down to it, right? Farm workers. I'm guessing a lot of them were. Many of the people in that car were undocumented.
Well, not a word about the victims, by the way, in the ICE statement either.
Not one, right? Not one about, like, I've seen other stories. Before this piece came out, there were plenty of stories about this incident, which would never make Downballot because they were really just about the tragedy, the human tragedy. But yeah, there's families that were affected by this, like daughters, sons, brothers, cousins, husbands, wives,
fucking neighbors
right?
Neighbors who now their neighbor's dead. Like, I'm not super. I know a couple of the neighbors in the building here. But if I found out somebody died in the car here in this building while someone else was driving drunk, even if I didn't know them, I would feel sad, right? Like,
sure, yeah, 100%. Same here. I actually do know my neighbors pretty well. We go to Christmas parties at their houses, and that would, if one of them got killed because of a drunk driver, I wouldn't be sitting there trying to figure out if the drunk driver was undocumented or not. I would be like, no, this person needs to be prosecuted because they got behind the wheel of a car and they shouldn't have been behind the wheel because they were drunk, not because they were undocumented. So, it's just a flex from the larger social issues, just like we talk about a lot with especially when it comes to the unhoused, right? Like, everything gets couched in, we don't want this, safe sleeping site or encampment near our house because it's unsafe because unhoused people are unsafe. No, it's not at all. It ignores the human tragedy, the fact that people are having to live on the street in the first place, right? And what can we do about that? No, it just says, they're just drug addled and mentally ill and a threat to society, and it just it misses the point. It's a lie. It's a false narrative, and it distracts us from changing and really trying to address, not changing, but just addressing and talking about these kind of issues. Like, we just don't talk about them. We don't talk about what are the solutions to this. We just sort of lament and say, that's so sad. It's so sad. But we don't really address the underlying issues. And that's, again, what what ICE and what our folks in power right now are doing. There's deflecting and deflecting and obfuscating and brushing it under the rug in the name of their narrative.
Well, speaking of out of control law enforcement, we have a story about parking attendants, parking cops in San Francisco.
I mean, this is something that like I would actually have downloaded this app, but we'll learn more about it. But this is something I would actually enjoy using and might have contributed to. But let's find out more from our friends at ABC.
A 23-year-old software engineer created an app that tracked parking cops in San Francisco in real time. It went viral, of course. The idea was it could help people avoid parking tickets.
Yeah, that is until the SFMTA did something a bit unusual in a democracy. They acted fast. ABC's...
Get the fuck out of here.
Side shade to government.
Dude, get the fuck out of here, Dan Ashley.
Suzanne?
Oh, yeah.
So, Dan, if you drive in San Francisco, you probably have gotten a parking ticket or two. Maybe it's because your meter expired. Now, the engineer, Riley Weiss, he says he just loves data. And he says his app was supposed to be all part of a big data experiment.
Not out to get the parking cops. Like I respect their work and stuff.
Software engineer.
He's like, I'm not out to get the parking cops. ICE, on the other hand.
All right, what's with the hoka shoe, by the way? Like, that was the most random, intro.
But his friends and roommate have...
And that guy's like a fucking time capsule from 20 years ago in fucking Silicon Valley, dude. Look at that fucking time capsule ass kid.
Especially with the hair.
I just see those tickets. So that was kind of what inspired it, was just seeing those.
He decided to create an app called Find My Parking Cops, using SFMTA data already posted online for the public to see.
I'm a huge data nerd. Like, this is just really cool data to look at.
Walt says his app was supposed to be a tool to help drivers in San Francisco.
It's a riff off of Find My Friends. I was able to reverse engineer the SF parking ticket system, so I could see kind of close to real time where parking tickets were issued in the city. And then I was making a map of like where the actual parking cops were as they traversed the city and issue tickets. So in theory, maybe you could use that to avoid them, avoid a ticket.
The app went viral, but within 4 hours, SFMTA put a stop to Waltz's project.
They changed their site, so I couldn't scrape the data from their site anymore.
SFMTA released this statement saying, quote, SFMTA is transparent about our transportation data and will continue to be. But when our staff's safety and personal information of people who have received parking citations is at risk, we must act on that swiftly. Layla Olala got 4 tickets for street cleaning in the past year. Each one cost her $108. She doesn't think Waltz did anything wrong with his app.
I appreciate him, and it wasn't malicious that he was doing this. It was just the facts that he found.
I understand why the city's not happy about it, but at the end of the day, it's public information.
SFMTA says people can still access parking citation data on their public website, DataSF. Waltz learned a lot from his endeavors. He had a leaderboard feature on his site ranking cops by dollars and tickets they issued.
I think one officer issued I think tens of thousands of dollars in one day. There's some officers that really power through and they issue over 100 tickets in one shift. And then there's other officers that maybe only issue 10.
Walt says he's done with his data experiment and his app.
I think it's done, but it was interesting couple hours.
So we asked Walt what he's going to do next. He says he's going to keep working on websites. Last September, he created Bop Spotter. And that's where he said he took a phone, put it inside of a box, took that box and put it on a utility pole in the Mission District. And then he used the app Shazam 24/7. And that created a playlist with songs that people played in the neighborhood.
Oh, that's fucking great.
Genius. That's fabulous. My goodness, this kid, someone hire this kid. My goodness, he won't be out of, I don't think he'll be so unemployed that he's creating all these apps soon. I think they're going to snap him up pretty quick. I'm sure Insta or Meta is going to hire him to do some really intense work.
Also just amazing that nobody took the phone, right?
Right, yeah. I'm amazed they didn't break down his door. This is genius, right? On Google Maps, right, and Waze, they have those alerts, right, that people self-report. There was a cop, there was a speed trap here, there's a cop, highway patrol up the way, right. And you get alerts on when you're driving someplace on actual Google Maps. So it's akin to that. And I don't understand why that hasn't become more, but this hasn't become more popular. I would imagine lots of people, I would love to have this kind of information because, yeah, like I said before, I get behind the wheel a lot when I shouldn't, or not a lot. I've gotten behind the wheel when I shouldn't, but I've also parked illegally so many times I'm afraid to count. And luckily haven't been ticketed every time, but the times I've had, and I've had to pay like the $65 fine or whatever it is, I certainly would have benefited from knowing that the parking enforcement guy was right around the street. And while I was walking into the library to return my book and coming back 5 minutes later, like, I would be glad to know that I would have gotten a ticket if I hadn't been properly notified. So what a great app. And, not surprising that the crackdown happened, but I mean, if you're going to publicize this information, it's public information. Interesting that producer Dave, that they shut it down by preventing him from scraping the data, not by not by shutting his app down, right, and issuing cease and desist, but like just by we shouldn't be like sharing this information publicly, and by shutting down that channel, right, the API basically was shut down. So not so much that they were shutting him down.
They talked about privacy too, so I wonder if whatever they were doing, like exposed, maybe not on the public web page, but through like an API or something, exposed like the license plate numbers or whatever of whoever's getting, and like that's getting tickets, not like, you know what I'm saying? If you're like, oh, here's information about where we generally issued tickets today and all this, and it's kind of updated in real time, you don't need to put the motherfucker's home address who you gave the ticket to like somewhere in the system. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's not publicly available by the website, that doesn't mean that he wasn't able to scrape that kind of data. Now, it doesn't appear that he had any interest in surfacing, say, your home address or your license plate number, but maybe that kind of stuff was available to somebody who was using like an API or whatever, however he grabbed the data.
Yeah, I would say first thing is I'm amazed that the data, even if it's just disaggregated, anonymized data, right, of this is where tickets are being issued, so you don't know who the issuing officer was, you don't know who the violator was, just this is where a ticket was issued. I'm amazed that data is out there public in the first place. So kudos to this dude for finding that information, because I didn't really even know you could track that. So I would hope, privacy laws being what they are, government being having its own policies, that that information did not include any sort of personal information, driver's license plate or driver information or any of that. More just the disaggregated data or anonymized data of where the tickets are being issued. But hey, if it was, that's also a problem too. So maybe this alerted to MTA and others to some problems with their systems. But hey, I applaud this dude.
Or that could have just all been a red herring too, right? That could have just all been bullshit,
right? Completely. But the good news is, he didn't get busted. He didn't break any laws, right? And he can continue to create fun apps that track what people are banging on their stereos in the neighborhood. I would love to have that, because a lot of times we have all night really we have folks rolling down our street bumping all sorts of tunes, and most of it's just stuff that I just probably don't care for necessarily. But occasionally there's a jam where I'm like kind of bumping my head a little bit, like that's some funky shit.
Even if you don't like all the music, it just making a playlist out of the sounds of your neighborhood is fucking cool. Maybe not your neighborhood, but like somewhere like like 19th and Mission or something, or
I was going to say Valencia and 16th.
Where
totally.
People are it's just always busy, right?
Yeah, 100%. That would be super fun, and frankly, probably pretty diverse too, right? Like you probably get a smattering of all sorts of cultures and different types of music, and who knows? Maybe you would be inspired. Maybe you'd find something in that playlist that would strike your fancy, and then suddenly you've got a new favorite band. So. I love that. And kudos to this dude. I mean, typically I would say like, oh, another white tech bro, relic from the early aughts with that hairdo especially, and the sort of near beard. But hey, he's got the people in mind. He's got the heart of the community in mind. So good on him. I hope he keeps creating fun apps and doesn't get bought up by Meta and start working on the algorithm that makes us all automatons.
Yeah, Peter Thiel already has a team on the way to this guy's house.
Hey, money does amazing things, right? So a big salary will do amazing things to someone's values.
So we've been covering the sunset in San Francisco recently because of the park that replaced the Great Highway. And we'd also mentioned this Sunset After Dark. It was a street party, and it just so happens that Sunset After Dark came back right after they recalled their supervisor. I have no reason to believe that one caused the other or anything, but you know what I do think is interesting is that there's a park now that they could do this in, but I don't think they did it in the park. They're disrupting traffic actually to do this.
Yes, it would seem like it would all make perfect sense, right? Except that they got to stay on brand. So we're going to find out more from KTVU.
The return of a night market revived by the community. Sunset After Dark makes its debut days after the supervisor who spearheaded the original was recalled.
The 11 o'clock news on KTVU Fox 2.
After the hugely popular Sunset Night Market in San Francisco was canceled over the summer, the community stepped up. Hello again, I'm Greg Lee. Thousands turned out for the debut of Sunset After Dark. Among those in attendance, Supervisor Joel Engardio, who helped launch the original night market 2 years ago and was recalled by voters in the Sunset just 10 days ago. KTVU's Betty Yu spoke with attendees about why events like these are so important for the neighborhood.
Because it's not a park.
Line dancers ushered in a new version of the Sunset Night Market called Sunset After Dark, spanning 3 blocks of Irving Street. Dozens of vendors lit up the night as thousands of people filled the street. And live music set the tone for a vibrant evening. The original Sunset Night Market, which launched 2 years ago, was canceled this year due to delayed reimbursements from the city to its producers.
I'm just looking at this crowd. I mean, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and this event just got started. A year ago, 30% of this city felt like we were on the right side.
A year ago, I wouldn't have been caught dead in this neighborhood, even though it's one of the nicer neighborhoods in San Francisco.
Today, that's in the mid-60s.
Mayor Daniel Lurie met with Sunset residents and small business owners, many of whom were disappointed when the original market was put on pause. The push to revive the event was led by Smoke and D's barbecue owner.
I mean, on a big night like this, there's a lot of businesses that can make their rent in one night. So it's very important to continue to have these events.
And I'm telling you, it's all the buzz. I don't want to miss any of them. I have to be at every single one. The food is great, the people are great, and I'm just so proud to be a Sunset native.
I think it's really important that we keep the neighborhood vibrant, get people out, and really support the small businesses here.
The original Sunset Night Market was championed by Supervisor Joel Engardio, who was recalled just 10 days ago in a special election, largely due to his support for closing part of the Great Highway to create a park. Engardio said his office helped recruit and support merchants who participated in Sunset After Dark.
We started the trend. The Sunset proved what was possible when it comes to night markets. Now they're all over the city. And that's a wonderful thing, and I'm so glad the community's coming together to bring it back to Irving Street.
Organizations like Dear Community and the Civic Joy Fund were among the event's main sponsors.
This event wasn't planned to be a palate cleanser after all the divisiveness, but I'm viewing it that way, right? This is an easy way for us to come together, celebrate the community, the food, the culture.
Sorry.
And the next event here on Irving Street will be the Autumn Moon Festival on October 4th. And Joel Engardio also said there is also talk of a Halloween-themed event right here on Irving Street. In San Francisco.
Bring back Halloween in the Castro. Fuck you.
So, do you have some thoughts? I have a couple, or at least a few.
One, good on the recalled supervisor for continuing to engage with the community even after, at the ballot box, he was rejected. He was still I guess, helped out with this night market that he seems to think is a really fun idea. So that's my first thought actually after watching that was, what a nice guy. He didn't even seem mad. Maybe that job sucks. Maybe he's all right, this is fine.
Yeah. I mean, and who knows, maybe he's thinking about, trying to challenge whoever gets appointed to his seat, right? And trying to get the seat back, because recalls can be really finicky and special elections can be what they are. But maybe he feels like he's got a chance if he goes back to the voters in a more broad way. But yeah, either way, good on him for showing up, right? Good on him for showing up for the community.
Well, not just showing up. I mean, we mean showing up in the "you are my supervisor" sort of way that you would like the supervisor to show up.
Right. And even if it is politically motivated, like he wants to run again, good on him for wanting to run again, frankly, after the recall and all that bullshit that he had to go through. I mean, so good on him for being out there. I do love also the local businesses saying like, hey, this kind of event can, pay our monthly rent like in one night, where we just saw what last week or 2 weeks ago, last time we did the show, Viva Calle in San Jose, and business owners saying, oh, this is scary. Shutting down the streets is going to hurt my business. It's like, no.
Well, the crazy thing about that was the guy that was the liquor store guy that thought it was going to hurt his business that everybody was walking around.
Right.
Kids are going to be like, kids are going to be pointing to the liquor store going, I want some Skittles. Like,
right. I need a slushie, bro. I need some Funyuns. I need some Takis. And you got my Takis. So yeah, so good on the businesses also for embracing the fact that they're, and I just had to laugh at that in the middle there was the I don't know, mixed race or at least white dude with his very demure Asian wife who wasn't saying anything and looked really just stoic, like, I don't want to talk to you. And the dude was just like, yeah, let's talk to the news. It's just such a standard, almost stereotypical look that I had to crack up.
Very San Francisco of him.
Very San Francisco, like, but good on everyone here. I think this is all good for the community, and I actually wonder if the same people who vote, like how many people out there at the night market voted to recall their supervisor for creating a new
people
park.
Who showed up. Well, first of all, the surrounding neighborhoods too are probably showing up for this, even maybe from across town, even maybe people from Oakland. But of the people in the neighborhood, I bet most of the people that were out there didn't vote.
Yeah, I would imagine so, right? Or maybe even know about the recall, right?
Statistically, I mean, the statistics would bear it out because they didn't get a huge turnout on the recall. So
they, relatively speaking, they did. They actually, I was surprised. I will say this: we'll do a little callback because we didn't get to really dig into the results from that. But they actually did get around 30% turnout, which I'm frankly amazed at. Like, that sounds low, but for a special election, that's actually pretty. That's double what I was expecting. So they actually had a pretty good turnout, but probably mostly from obviously 2/3 of the people that turned out voted for the recall. So it usually the frothy people are the ones that show up. But yeah, so good on a lot of folks here. I think there's some winners and some losers here, but I just mostly feel, again, really bad for Supervisor Engardio, or former Supervisor Engardio. I don't know much about him. I don't know much about his politics, but it's really unfortunate that a public servant who looks like he's really just trying to look out for the community and do cool things,
he got dirty,
gets recalled for. Yeah, he got done dirty, and that's just sad, and it doesn't portend well for local politics in general when that can happen. And I just love that the mayor's out there with his shirt sleeves and his tie, like, Mayor Ed 210, just like Mayor Ed 209, right, showing up in entirely the wrong uniform for the party.
Right. Why can't you just, I mean, he's probably got a polo shirt that was like $1,400 that he could wear with some $900 fucking khakis or
jeans.
Something.
Yeah, some True Religion jeans or something that have a tear in them somewhere, that deliberate tear. For God's sake, at least take the tie off. At least Mayor Ed 209 doesn't even bother with the pretense of a tie. He just keeps the open collared white shirt going, the whole Bellarmine uniform look. So I would expect better from Mayor Ed 210. And he absolutely, that's another thing. He's absolutely engaging in performative politics, right? Like using this opportunity to tout like his approval ratings. Like, dude, know the room, right? You people are just out having a good time, eating some food, enjoying some music, and you're sitting there trying to make it political. Whereas the former supervisor is just like, hey, this is awesome for our community. That's all he's saying. He wasn't trying to make a political point.
Not for nothing, the current mayor may have won the sunset, but it looked like this was put together by a lot of local groups from we'll say non-white communities, it seemed like. Right. And so very those people might have tended to vote for one of his opponents, but that doesn't even matter because it's a fucking street party.
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco in general, I don't know the demographics, but I would guess it's minority, white. I mean, I would guess not even a plurality, right? Like API and other populations probably dominate, especially in the Sunset. So yeah, boo on him, loser on him for politicizing this community moment, and good on former Supervisor Engardio for still being out there and present in his community. And props to Franco Finn, the Warriors hype man who lives in the Sunset. I've met that dude. He's a very cool dude, and I'm glad to see that he's out there helping his community do good.
I mean, not for nothing. If you wanted to do a little something about local government, he goes, hey, this is something that the city of San Francisco is helping put on for you. And, sometimes government does good things. I just want to make sure that you guys know that your local government doesn't only want to cut the budget. We want to cut a rug sometimes. Just say something fucking cool like that. Get somebody to write something for you about
Ooh, producer Dave. I mean, I always say that you would be a wonderful political consultant, and that right there is proof of it, right? Don't cut your budget, cut a rug. What a wonderful turn of phrase. What I'm saying is, you could go out there and even be sort of self-congratulatory, but be like, the city doesn't only deal with the police budget. We don't just deal with these other things. We also help, we help you, our community, put on events like this, and whenever we can, and we'd like to do more of this going forward, and everybody have a great time. Goodbye. Yep. And that would be great for local news to cover these kind of things more often too, and not just the negatives, right?
Maybe
not just
even let them videotape you dancing. It humanizes you a little bit.
Sure. Or like Mayor Red 209, you can get Steve Aoki to cake you.
Man, for anybody, but for people who actually go out, that further dehumanized Mayor at 209. They're like, this is lame.
Well, especially when he went on out the next week or whatever and accused Gavin Newsom of being too much of a social media influencer, which is hilarious. Anyway, that's
Aoki throwing a pie is like the opposite of Gallagher destroying a watermelon. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like the exact opposite of, even though it's in the same neighborhood, they live on other different sides of the tracks as far as coolness.
Correct. I actually kind of feel like I would be happier and more excited to be sprayed by Gallagher's, watermelon crushing than caked by Steve Aoki.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we have to move on. We have so much more to cover here on Down Ballot. But in other news, a local merchant or merch maker, or maker, shall we say, they, as makers do, they appropriated some popular branding content in their street merch, and the folks that whose logo was being used just happened to be a public agency that's struggling with their budget right now. So it caused a little bit of a kerfuffle, and we're going to learn more about it from KTVU.
On 2, a merchandise brand is under fire after using Bart's logo without permission. As part of the newly opened Bagoo store on Valencia Street in San Francisco's Mission District, the company gave out Bart branded items like water bottles, hats, and stickers, but Bart says they didn't have an agreement with Bagoo.
We're really stoked that Bagoo loves our awesome branding, but Bart's in a financial crisis right now, and we could have used the money from an actual partnership to help you get around.
I mean, here we are in San Francisco. The Bart needs every dollar they can get.
They decided to go behind their backs. If I was a Bart, I would sue.
Motherfucker was wearing a shirt for $1 million car.
Right. If I was the Bart, I would sue.
Bagoo issued this statement. We're amazed by the response to the free gifts and are in touch with the Bart team about an official collaboration. Bart then confirmed that statement with a statement of its own, saying, quote, while we would have liked to be contacted before they made merch with our logo,
shade.
We are happy we are now in communication with them. It's still unclear, though, if Bart will ask for any sort of royalties for the merch that has already been given out. Martine.
New at 5, San Jose Police.
Well,
okay, that's enough of that clip.
I don't know.
It's not a 5-minute clip.
It's lazy as fuck to fucking steal a Bart logo, but it's cool. I don't know. There's if it was something other than branding, if it was like a play on the train, you know what I'm saying? If there was like a joke,
other than
all those old weed shirts, right?
Yeah,
like UPS, United Pot Smokers, and all that. Right. If it was something along those lines, but if you're just fucking stealing the Bart logo and putting your fucking fast fashion logo on there, fuck you. Yeah, they had AI make that shit for them.
For sure, just taking advantage of the fact that your name and Bart's name start with BA, right? That's pretty much what's going on here. And I come from a scene where lot merch, and fan merch, right, and fan art is a big thing, right? And stuff gets appropriated all the time, but usually it's done with the intent and with the support of the band or the brand that's being it's having their likeness used. But I do recall This happens, this happens pretty frequently. I'm pleased to see Bart not taking like aggressive legal action, right? Like trying to figure out, okay, how can we leverage this? They're recognizing the moment. They're recognizing that there's an interest out there and that it's sparked sort of a quote unquote viral moment, right? So they're taking advantage of it. They had the spokesperson, not like the suited up attorney, like we at Bart are examining this breach of our brand, and we are going to be following up to the fullest extent of the law to prosecute these people. No, they had like the young influencer Bart spokesperson with the midriff showing, like on her mini mic and her clipper card, very on brand, talking about how, yeah, this is not the coolest, but hey, we'll work with you. I appreciate that. I had a friend who was doing some merch for fans of a local sports team here in the Bay Area a few years ago, and got cracked down upon by the sports team and by others in the business community, and pretty much got shut down, and was making some really fun merch that if the sports team and the brand had embraced and tried to figure out a way to work with them, could have been even cooler. But instead they just shut it down and tried to sue my friend and forced him to not be able to do the thing that he loved to do. So it can go all different ways. So hopefully Bart is seeing this as an opportunity, and not so much like an opportunity for legal action, but an opportunity to actually make a little money, make a little cheese, make a little branding out of it. That's an approach I can get behind, and that's the winner in the situation. And the loser is anyone who thinks that this is they think they can just leverage a public brand for their shitty apparel company.
Right. And another thing Bart could do, they could like let this person keep doing it and then just put vending machines in the Bart stations, right? Where you pop your credit card in and
totally
don't just have it say, don't buy the fake Bart hat, right? Like don't
buy the fake Bart ticket magnet. Yeah. Don't get a Bart ticket magnet from any old vendor on the street. Get it from this person.
Right. You can buy the real Bart hat, maybe make a better hat, or make it more expensive, but you're like, hey, by buying this hat, you're helping with some of our financial issue. You do something and you leave them alone. You go, and then you start like, I don't know, start like an underground campaign about how it's kind of whack to have the fake Bart hat,
Right. And even better, I mean, even if they did nothing, right? Even if they did nothing and people are walking around rocking the Bart logo, right? It's still good for their brand, right? It's hip, it's fun. Like people are seeing the Bart brand, and they associate Bart with cool, right? Not with this shit breaks down, this shit is too expensive, this shit doesn't get where you want to go, shit's too loud, right? All the negatives of Bart, they just need more positive vibes out there. If there's anything I'm learning from, and I hate to do it, I really hate it. It's just so abhorrent to me, but I do read Nextdoor. I do go to Nextdoor because honestly, if you want to know what real people are thinking, that's where you go. And it just seems to me that there's a missed opportunity if you're just cracking down, constantly cracking down and being the man. Just let it go. Let it go and let the vibe take over. And I think you'll find that you'll get more benefit out of it than by being the bad cop or dad or the police, right, or the narc. So hopefully Bart is embracing that kind of a vibe. And yeah, if they work together, they could create some really cool swag. Who knows what could happen?
Not really. I mean, the problem I have with this is that it wasn't even creative. Like, even if the Bart logo was just the B and the A for Bagoo, right? There would have been some fucking creativity there, and it would have been like referencing the fact that it's a San Francisco brand, kind of. But they didn't even do that.
They didn't even continue the font, right? Like, they could continue the Bart font for Bagoo, right? But instead they just like put Bagoo over BA, and like I could have done that in Canva.
As a designer of merch, I am offended.
Right, and you're rocking one of the best pieces of merch I've ever seen, right? But didn't take too long to think about, but it's entirely like genius and creative and all of those things. Just putting your name over this Bart logo, like I said, I could do that in Canva in like 5 minutes right now. Like, and
right, you could have it up on you could have it up on fourth wall in 10 minutes.
Right. So, not much. I really kind of applaud that company. That's what we should do. We should. Oh yeah, you're stealing logos now. We should just steal that hat. Yeah, right.
Put it up on get an Etsy shop or something.
We'll go meta on them, and we'll steal Bagoo's shit that's stealing Bart shit and make our own Downballot gear.
All proceeds benefit, former Bart employees' healthcare plans, or
there you go. Current Bart employees' healthcare plans. Shit, who knows? That's a great idea. Let's put that up on the Now Space and see what happens.
Like, what are they going to say?
No, it gets so much worse than this. Anyway, well, good. Let's see if good on Bart for trying to leverage the situation, and hopefully they do make some cheese out of it. And yeah, I know we bag a lot about public institutions, but please use public transit. It's fucking convenient. It's not that expensive. Even Caltrain, relatively speaking to like gas prices, is not that expensive. Please get on your public transit and get clear the roads and feel better about yourself. Get home safely. You can be fucking shit-faced on Bart or Caltrain if you want, as long as you're not causing a nuisance. So to go that route. Let's embrace public transit, Bay Area.
This is like it was like the second or third week I was in Oakland, and I was leaving. I left Bricks. The owner was going to be there like cleaning, and I was like, I'm trashed. He's like, here's how you get home, and he gave me the bus things. He's like, you'll have to walk for 10 minutes or whatever. I get on the first bus, nothing. I get on the second bus. The lady looks at me and she goes, "You had a good night."
How'd you know? That's awesome. Well, hey, yeah, exactly. Like, I want to give a shout out real quick. Based on that, I want to give a shout out. I rode the bus. I was coming back from a show in SF late night in San Jose. Got off the Berryessa BART, got on the train or got on the bus, the express bus, and multiple times on the way from the Berryessa BART station to my neighborhood, the bus driver encountered someone who came on and said, "I can't pay. I just need to get to somewhere, or I just need someplace to sit," and they let them on. Right? Like, I'm not going to say anything. No one's going to say anything. But good on our public transit employees too for just recognizing that people be struggling out there. So and not wanting to be the the narc or the police about it. Right? Like, hey, you need a place to. You got to go somewhere. You need a place just to sit. Come on my bus. It's a safe space. So good on our public employees for that.
Here, it's the clipper machines on the bus. They just don't always work. So sometimes I get on the bus and
oh shit,
the driver will be like, "Well, there's nobody behind you in line, but the clipper machine isn't working, so you can make your own decisions." And I'm like, "Thanks."
Come on, yeah,
well,
come on board. Come on board. I'm not gonna kick you off my bus. So good on them. I wanted to give a shout out to them because you don't hear a lot of positive stuff about public employees, but our public employees they are dedicated to their jobs. They could get paid a lot more if they did another job or went in the public or private sector, and they do it because they care, right? So please respect your public employees, and I want to give a shout out to them right now.
Now we're going to move on up to the North Bay with someone you should not respect, and I think that's a squirrel, actually. There's a squirrel in this who would absolutely bite you for trying to get on the bus without paying.
There's no lead-in for this show, this episode, or this clip. We just got to go right to it.
I did my best.
Story making international news. Who knew? Squirrels.
International.
In San Rafael.
Squirrels in attack. A handful of people bit, scratched, and really injured. Some even ended up in the emergency room. Crazy story. Let's go now to the normally quiet Lucas Valley area where the headline is this: attack squirrels.
Hell yeah.
No, really. Attack squirrels. And if you don't believe me, look at the signs of neighbors warning neighbors and the neighbors themselves. 5 and counting. Some ending up in the emergency room, like Joe, who got his ear gnawed on and doesn't want to be on camera.
Oh man, what a great, speaking of t-shirts, what a great t-shirt this fucking poster would make.
Look at that picture. Attack squirrel. It's not even like a flying squirrel. It's just a squirrel jumping
look, they're like, this is not a joke.
More than 5 people. So 6 people.
So like if you have to tell somebody that something's a joke, that means it's not going to be very funny. But if you tell something that something is not a joke, there's a high probability that it's fucking hilarious.
How many exclamation points do you need, by the way? Is that 8? 9? Oh my God, I can't even count.
Who got his ear
they underlined it too.
Doesn't want to be on camera.
He came down on here and he started gnawing on this fence.
Wait, those are teeth marks?
Those are teeth marks.
Yes.
So he come over here and he started gnawing again. I took my hat off to swat him off, and he jumped on my head.
Joe's wife, Marie.
Well, that's exactly why he attacked you. Don't fuck with the squirrel. He's just trying to get some food. Relax, bro.
This is self-defense. Squirrel self-defense.
Joe gets his baseball cap and hits it. And so she turns around and just jumps on his head, scratched his ear. And then she jumped on his leg, and so he tried to get her off.
Look at these photos taken of the squirrel just before that chunk out of Joe's fence and Joe's bigger squirrel.
Oh, so you were stalking the squirrel.
Pretty much.
Around here, see a lot of neighbors.
So that's when we went to ER. They thought, oh, yeah, it's a squirrel. They don't have rabies. So we thought, that's it.
But that wasn't it. Look at this. The next day, the mean squirrel came back.
Grandma, watch this. Send it to my teacher.
Listen to Joe and Marie's grandchildren told to stay indoors.
That's the same one, I think. What's Lindemann? Let me see.
He's pissed. He's like, fuck you. Fucking with my shit.
Eating them up. And it was like very hungry and wanted to be fed, I think.
Hangry. Angry and hungry.
Angry.
Oh, good job, news person.
So now the signs are up. Neighbors are warning.
This is not a joke. I love that it says this is not.
And the Marin Humane Society posting signs too, even going door to door with warnings.
And we're also told don't walk with shorts, don't walk with anything but heavy dungarees. And as you can see, I'm out here wearing jeans, not shorts.
You're keeping
not dungarees? I have a pair of dungarees that I bust out just for this kind of situation when there's an attack squirrel on the loose.
You know what? Fuck it. If I work for the Humane Society, I'd be like, yeah, I'll go around. I'll do that. I'll go around and tell everybody not to wear shorts in case they get attacked by a fucking squirrel. I'm like, you know what? I haven't. This job's been kind of fucking normal so far, actually. So I'm gonna go out there and it's like Gay Dave Squirrel Police, you know?
Gay Dave Squirrel. Oh no. Oh god. So many side hustles for you, producer Dave. I think you need to limit your options.
The rules.
I'm keeping the rules, and I don't want to be bit.
You're not being squirrely.
Not being.
This reporter's got some chops.
But literally, I talked to so many neighbors who have injuries. Some of them did not want to go on camera, and they're scared.
Yeah, they were afraid the squirrel has friends. No snitching.
Right. I don't want to expose myself.
Fucking organized squirrel.
So a lot of people in that neighborhood, they're working with the Marin Humane Society to try to track down that specific squirrel, the mop eater, the ear chewer. The California Department of Fish and Wildlife suspects that the squirrel is likely what they think is a non-native species and might be being used to being fed by humans or maybe even proactive to protect a nest with young on the inside. They just don't know. But they all agree, all of these agencies that we spoke with say that it's important to post those signs to warn people that the squirrel is there, taking up space.
No, it's not.
This is not a joke.
Man, the kids in the neighborhood are having a blast with this, right? The teenagers in this neighborhood, to the extent that there are any.
Sure.
This didn't look like a lot of teenagers maybe live there, but oh man, if there's kids, the kids are having a blast. I want to go to that neighborhood, get invited to a Halloween party, and go as a squirrel and just bite people.
Well, I just look at the headline of this. This clip, right? Attack squirrel in San Rafael neighborhood blamed for sending residents to the ER, right? All I saw in that clip was one dude who tried to swat the squirrel and hit the squirrel, and the squirrel fought back like any rational sentient being would, right? To being attacked, you fight back. So and it's not residents, it's one dude, and he only went to the ER probably because. Yeah, he started it, and if he went to the ER, like he seemed fine when he was explaining what happened. So it's not like he incurred like life-threatening injuries from this poor squirrel who was just trying to get some food and was probably struggling and just I'll eat this fucking wood, and it happened to be the guy's fence, right? And so he's entirely at fault here for trying to attack. He's the attack. He's the squirrel attacker. Correct. He's the squirrel attacker, and this attack squirrel is just retaliating. So it's really retaliatory squirrel, self-defense squirrel, not attack squirrel. Attack squirrel implies that, like, if you've ever encountered like a raccoon, right, or
that's an attack squirrel.
Of these, more aggressive like creatures. They don't give a fuck, right? Like they're not scared of you. They're not attacking you because they're scared of you or defending themselves. They're attacking you because that's what they do. The squirrel, any squirrel Yeah, exactly. Whatever squirrel I've encountered, they run away as quickly as soon as you walk out. Like I open the door in my backyard, and if there's a squirrel out there, they run away because they don't want anything to do with humans.
Well, this one's not taking your shit anymore.
Right. They've been conditioned to say like, oh, humans, I could get killed, right? Or I could get swatted, right? So they run away. And this one's like, you know what? Fuck that shit. I'm standing my ground. I'm going to defend myself and my family, and I'm going to defend my right to eat this person's. I'm going to come back and even like aggressively eat this person's mop just to antagonize them.
Destroy property.
Right. I'm going to show them what they get when they swat a squirrel. So they bring it on themselves, the folks of San Rafael. But I love a story where it's like one person had a problem and suddenly it's a thing, right? It's a going concern. It's like the ultimate next door down ballot story where
I wish I could see the next door for this neighborhood.
I'm sure just do a little search. Sometimes these things elevate beyond the neighborhood. So do a quick next door search. I bet you could find some threads out there, or just look up a random. What I always do is look up a random address and create a fake account. You can do this. It's not like they're checking your social security number. So find a random address on Google Maps, create an account, and suddenly you're in that neighborhood and you can see everything you want to see.
A good way to do it is to find an apartment building that has 6 or 7, like there's a fourplex, and say you're apartment 10.
Right, exactly. And create a faux email account to capture, to use for the login, and you're done. It's very easy to create a free email account, even these days.
Hold on, we got to see the rest of this.
Yeah, I mean, and you heard those kids like, let him in, because I showed that to my son, my 6-year-old, and his first thing, it looks really cute. It's just hungry. No.
Right?
Apparently a little bit vicious, and hopefully they figure out why.
Yeah.
And they can get the squirrel.
Because their fucking grandfather tried to kill him.
Right. If they knew, if those kids knew the truth, they'd be on they already are on the squirrel side.
I had a little squirrel feeder in my yard.
Let him in. He hopefully attacks grandpa again.
But it's this because it trains the squirrel like, oh, human being, I can approach the food.
Bird feeder, okay. I think. I hope. No. None of it.
He's all about the squirrel feeder. This guy's all about the squirrel feeder, but not the bird feeder. He's anti-bird.
Oh, don't go up to the fucking bird feeder, man.
Well, you know what? There's one animal you don't want to feed, and that's a rat. But apparently, and Whole Foods is just full of really good organic food, so it's a perfect spot for rats to.
So this
come looking for
get your rat shit together.
Get your ratchet, get your back guano together. Yeah,
we should probably send the National Guard into Cupertino until we figure out what's going on with all these rats.
I think that's happening anyway, but let's find out what's happening from NBC Bay Area.
After 5 long months, shoppers finally walked back into the Whole Foods in Cupertino. The upscale grocer shut down because of a vermin infestation, as in rats. Investigative reporter
rats are just being picky.
Has been tracking that shutdown and the possible reasons why it took the grocery store so long to get rid of the rats. She was at the store today as customers return for the very first time.
After 5 months of closed and locked doors, Whole Foods on Stevens Creek Boulevard is back and running.
My experience was really good. It was really cool. Everything clean, everything organized. It was perfect. And
like
I
a Whole
like
Foods?
to shop in there.
A much different scene than we saw in April when county health officials forced the store to close because of a rodent infestation.
It was disappointing to see all the news about the rodent infection and it took a while for them to fix it, but hopefully it won't repeat again.
Today, this customer says she's been shopping here since it first opened, and even a months-long shutdown was not.
They use those little small shopping carts so that you can be like, I have a whole cart full of food.
I have lots of stuff. Yeah,
the farmer Joe's in my neighborhood does the same thing.
Yeah,
you think you have a cart full of food when you have a basket.
Right. It makes our single and couples feel a lot better about shopping for just themselves.
How clean did it look in there
Very
today?
clean, very clean.
Any concerns after, what they went through for all these months?
No, not at all. I know a lot of people go, oh, Whole Foods, I'm not going to go back there. And I go, it happens. It's okay.
Health inspector.
Oh, I like her.
Suspended the store's permit after finding.
But I bet she's part of the homeowners association, and she would have a different thing about a fourplex going up 3 doors down from her.
Yes, correct. Or some sort of cacti that one of her neighbors planted in their yard.
Droppings in food prep areas, live cockroaches in the bakery, and a captured adult female roof rat in the deli. Weeks later, the infestation had expanded to the main floor, with health reports showing droppings found in the Bananas produce island, triggering the longer closure.
Well, I'm relieved for them too, because clearly they had a really big problem. And it was, unfortunately, took our closing of their facility for them to focus on getting rid of all the vermin. But I think they did a great job.
In an earlier interview, she said her department denied a waiver request from Whole Foods Pest Control Company to use banned rodenticides to eliminate the problem quicker. This time, she also pointed to a nearby field as a potential problem.
That there was some of the concern where that rats were actually had a harborage in the fields nearby, which was owned by, I believe, a church. And so they actually reached out to the church and helped them do some cleaning of the fields.
In their latest report, health officials noted the facility was sanitized, door sweeps were added to all entry points, and tree branches that had been touching the building were trimmed. In a recent statement, a Whole Foods Market spokesperson said the company took advantage of the shutdown to also renovate the store to ensure an improved shopping experience for customers.
And Dr. Underwood tells us they have seen more food facilities close because of vermin contamination this year than in the same period last year. And they do plan to continue tracking this growing problem. I'm Hilda Gutierrez, NBC Bay Area. We investigate.
Isn't it like incredibly dumb for the company to like wait for the county to shut them down when people in the company know that this is happening? Because it's much easier to just be like, hey, we want to revamp the something in the store, and the construction would be too disruptive for our customers, and then you just ask the pest control people to fucking kind of be discreet, right? And then
it challenges me to wonder how these things persist, right? To me, I'm amazed that there aren't more of these issues, and maybe there are more and we just don't hear about them because of the sort of methods that you suggest there, right? Why cause a public panic if it's what it is, right? You have a grocery store.
Even Karen, the homeowners association lady, was like, it just happens.
It happens, right? Like we had, the good wife and I had to deal with a rat, I don't want to say infestation, but we had rats in the house, right? And they had found some warm spots in our under our stove to like hang out and do their little sleeping and pooping and all their things. And it's like I haven't felt bad like having to mitigate them by killing them, but there was really no wiggle room with the good wife in that regard. Like I'm not going to catch and release, but yeah, we had to deal with that as homeowners ourselves. I'm amazed that grocery stores don't deal with this kind of thing all the time because shit, they have food everywhere, right? Like maybe
it's more a thing about maintenance, right, than getting unlucky.
Sure.
Maybe this.
Sure.
This might have been unlucky because of the field, but who knows? It might just be more about maintenance. Every quarter or something, you have somebody, if you're a reputable grocery store, you have somebody come and take a look around who, knows better than you what to look for to see if, maybe you catch something like this at the very beginning, then it's probably very easy to take care of versus if 100%. If it's all over your building, it's probably much more difficult to take care of.
100%. And like I said, the good wife and I, we had two, I think was what they finally determined. We had two rats that were holing up in our attic and getting down into the house, but it was just two at the end of the day, and we got we mitigated it. We called someone in, they put some traps out, we got them, we identified they were dead rats, and then they moved on, and we sealed up the house, and we did the maintenance to make sure that they couldn't get into the house again, right? There were definitely other rats out there. Like I have seen. You go out in our backyard, you can see like rats and other, vermin crawling on the power lines and crawling along the fences. They're out there. They're out there everywhere because we're invading their space. Let's not forget that. We are invading their space by creating our houses and our little plan. Just because we have this nice organized community and everything's all grid-like, right? And everything looks so nice. We're still invading their space.
Too. Maybe the rats like the structure.
They love it because they can come inside and get warm and get food. Like we're creating comfortable spaces for these folks, and we're also invading their space. So why wouldn't they, come, try to come into our houses because we're invading theirs? So, hey, if I would applaud more proactive approach, and it shouldn't take county health inspectors shutting you down for this kind of thing to happen. Like the minute you see, if I ran a grocery store, the minute I saw any kind of shit like this go down, or rat poop or whatever, cockroach, the place would be shut down right away. And like what I forget her name was, but our HOA president there, she'll come back. She will come back and keep shopping, especially if you're transparent about it. Especially if you say, yeah, shit happens. We cleaned it up, and now our store is even cleaner, right? I've always expected that whenever health scares pop up with fast food restaurants or whoever, like Chipotle,
that's the best
and all
place
those
to
things,
eat right after they open back up.
100%. People are like, oh, you eat Chipotle? Yeah, I eat Chipotle. Like, do you really think that they're doing right now? They're probably doing everything they can to make sure that the food that you're getting is clean and healthy, because they don't want it to perpetuate. They don't want to have more problems than they're in the public eye. So yeah, it's the best place to go shopping if this kind of stuff's happened. So hey, I'll probably be hitting the Cold Foods Cupertino to get my kombucha and my vegan non-dairy ice cream and all the other things whenever this mood strikes me.
What do you do with the other
no sugar added powdered sugar
out of that? What would you do with the other $2 out of that $100 that you just spent?
I would probably buy like their no sugar added powdered sugar.
All right, we gotta keep going here. We got down ballot watch.
Sure.
This is new polling about Prop 50, the potential plan to redistrict California.
Yeah, we're going to find out why Latinos are sort of split on the issue, but the caveat is that Latinos don't vote, so it's not really that big of an issue.
Both campaigns for and against Prop 50 are making concerted efforts to sway California Latino voters ahead of the November special election.
There's new polling out, and today it shows a little more than half of California's Latino voters support the proposal to change California's congressional districts. ABC 7 News political reporter Monica Madden here live in studio with the critical role Latinos will play in the redistricting war. Monica?
Larry, Latinos were key for Republican gains in the 2024 election, and about 4 in 10 eligible voters in California are Latino. But strategists tell me that both the Democratic and Republican parties are making assumptions about how this diverse population will vote, meaning both Texas and California's gerrymandering plans could backfire.
A sprint from both parties to win the Latino vote on Prop 50. The Democratic National Committee kicking off Spanish-speaking canvassing over the weekend.
Vota no a la.
And Republicans rolling out Spanish-language ads.
It's clear that the Latino community is going to have a profound impact on what happens in November on Prop 50.
New polling out Tuesday from the Latino Community Foundation showing just 46% of Latino voters plan to vote yes on California's new congressional maps.
Level of awareness on Prop 50 is lower than its advocates would like.
The 1,200 Latinos surveyed listed cost of living and inflation as their top issues, with other economic and affordability issues following for top 5 problems.
You've got a bunch of consultants and professionals who are saying, this is what Latinos should be thinking about, as opposed to what Latinos are saying, this is actually what we're thinking about.
Wait, the same thing that everybody else is thinking about. Everything's so goddamn fucking expensive.
Right, and the nasty homeless people.
Consultant Mike Madrid has studied Latino voting trends for more than 3 decades.
So if that were the conversation, I think we would see probably very different polling numbers for both the yes and the no side. Both sides are missing the opportunity to speak to Latinos on the overwhelming concern that they have about this state and this country, which is the cost of living, the cost of housing, and the affordability of everyday life. So there's this conventional narrative that all of the ICE crackdowns and all of the raids that are happening are moving Latino voters in a very significant way. There is no question at all that it is having an impact. But there's also no question that it's not having nearly the impact that people think it is compared to the economy and the economic situations that Latinos find themselves in.
Madrid says whichever party can speak to top issues for Latinos will have an edge.
As we are the blue-collar working class. We are the essential workforce that makes our economy work. And if you speak to that concern, if you speak to those issues, if you speak about economics, you're going to win the vote. The reason why we're swinging back and forth is because neither party is capable of addressing that primary prioritized issue.
And worth noting, there were more people in California's 12 Latino majority counties who voted for Trump in 2024 than in 2020. But Madrid warns this might not be a trend.
Well, there were more people who voted probably in 2024 than 2020.
It's true, but the numbers do show that Latinos swayed towards Trump in this last election and have historically, frankly. But that's one. The Latino vote makes up such a small percentage of our overall voter turnout that the idea that any campaign is... Sorry, go ahead.
I've seen the polling on this. It was Latino men.
Right. And Latino men are a very small percentage of the voter population, but they do tend to skew more conservative. And that's because, yes, I think that the conservative side does do a better job of messaging. And at the end of the day, folks in the Latino community in general, especially Latino men, are not typically on the outreach plan, right? Like when you sit down to work out a campaign strategy for communications, they are not a high priority. So they get very little information. So any information they get is going to have an impact, and they tend to get the next door style information, right? The community source information that is not factual and not really fully representative, and they run with that. And but again, they also don't vote at a very high clip either. So it's sort of like I sway back and forth. Like, I would love for the Latino community to be more empowered and engaged and aware of these issues. And I feel bad that I think that they're manipulated a lot, just like other immigrant communities, in terms of politics and used for political gain. But at the same time, like, I also wonder about, spending so much money and time and energy trying to mobilize a base that just doesn't seem to want to be mobilized and doesn't really understand the power of the vote, right? So, Mike Madrid, he makes a good point, but at the same time, those are issues that are affecting everyone. And if anything, we should be more thoughtful of not bifurcating or targeting or dissecting our communities and trying to focus on the issues that matter to all of us, right? Those are, like you said, those are issues that matter to all of us: the cost of living, homelessness, safety. These are things that we are all thinking about. It doesn't matter what we look like or where we're from. And I think we would do a better job of less micro targeting and more macro targeting, more talking to people on common terms. And I don't know how I'm going to end up voting on Prop 50, but I do think that
is there a don't care option?
Right, like neutral, or I don't give a fuck. But hopefully that's on the ballot. Or you can write something, and maybe you can write something in instead of yes, no, right? Like you can with candidates. You can write in Joe Montana for governor, but you can't write in something other than yes or no. So I do think it behooves all political consultants and campaigns in general to stop trying to micro-target and subdivide and I think that further divides us. The messaging that this is particularly important to you, and we're gonna put this group in a bucket over here. We're gonna put this group in a bucket over here. We're gonna put this group in a bucket over here. And this is both sides, right? And we suddenly wonder, how are we so polarized? It's because we're all talking to different groups in vacuums and not thinking about our collective humanity when we have a country that's built on diversity, built on immigrants, built on people from all different cultures coming together around common goals. And so focus on the common goals, and you actually save yourself some money, first of all, because you wouldn't have to print 8 million different mailing pieces for different audiences. You could have one mail piece, you could have one walk piece, you could have one message, and it makes it so much easier to run a campaign when you think about the fact that there's just fundamental things that we all give a shit about. And it's not just about, what is particularly impacting Latino men. Or today I saw something about Gavin Newsom saying the Democrats could learn from Charlie Kirk about how to engage with young men. It's like, no, like there's no need to call them out. Like if you want to engage young men, engage people, because we're all people at the end of the day. And there are some fundamental things that have nothing to do with my skin color or my age or my social affluence or my economic affluence that impact my decision making and my vibe and my opinions, right? Usually it comes down to really fundamental shit. So let's focus on that and less on the trying to create more division through our polling and our campaigning.
So real quick, with the midterms coming up, it would be really interesting, or it would be really smart actually, if like the Democratic Party, the messaging, they're sort of leading like with the culture war stuff, where leading with like, the Republicans are doing these bad things. But then if we had a functional party, they would say, and the Democratic Party stands for universal health care, housing guarantee. Like just hit him with all this fucking shit. Right now would be the time for the Democratic Party to like put together a real set of policies, because people are fucking so mad at the Republicans. But this is the Democratic Party we're talking about here, and why would they do such a thing? They can just point and not even laugh, like point and just kind of look down their glasses at the Republican Party. And that's kind of all they're doing.
Right. And we could embrace the fact, and I think they're scared. I think we're scared a lot too, that, being called socialist or being called whatever, like communists or,
that's how you reach the young people. Young people, 63% of them have a favorable view of fucking socialism, according to a couple of polls.
Yeah, look at the fucking numbers, right? Like gun control, housing, any issue you want. The progressives or the progressive position is the more popular position amongst people. You know what? Why people vote the other way, or they stay home and don't vote for you or anyone really, is because we're not embracing that. We're not showing them what we're doing. We're afraid to do it. We're afraid to take the step to go that way because we're afraid of the backlash from the people that aren't going to vote for us, right? Mayor Ed 209 is going to put the flags at half staff for Charlie Kirk. Why? Because he's afraid of MAGA backlash in a city that's like 80% blue and progressive, right? Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. We need to, if Democrats want to win elections, they would behoove themselves to embrace who they are and who we are. We are the party that is supportive of people, succeeding and thriving, and the other side is not, and that's a very simple argument.
And you're not guaranteed to win either way, but it's a little bit better to go down swinging,
and being yourself and being true to who you are, right? Like,
that's actually the problem. We got to get rid of the dinosaurs at the top of the party because they are being who they are, and they are holding a lot of the purse strings from the not just the Democratic Party itself, but like they're in contact with the PACs, super PACs, and other outside groups that fund the campaigns, and so we need to.
Yeah, and they think that they feel like they almost have to do that to win, right? And if there's anything I learned, I talked about earlier. It's my 10th anniversary on this network with you, producer Dave. And when I first came on, I was running for city council, and we all joke a lot about how. We often joke a lot about how the Downballot bump or the Echoplex Media bump was probably a reverse bump, right? It was probably more harmful to my campaign than anything.
Like the one person from San Jose that was in your district that heard that, they're like, I'm not voting for that asshole.
Right, that fucking guy. I saw that guy in the doors. They're like, you were on that podcast, on that Lib podcast. No, but seriously, I did not do that. That if there's a mistake I made during my campaigns, it was not being my true self in all formats, right? There were some moments where I felt really good and I was on my brand and on values and I was speaking my mind but it was honestly because I didn't think anyone was listening. And the minute someone was listening, like I heard about it, but I should never have been afraid about embracing or hesitant to embrace who I am, my true values, because at the end of the day, I was going to win or lose, but I would feel a lot better about myself now, having lost. If I'd been more of myself, if I'd embraced more of my true self, I would feel like I left, like they say in sports, I left it all on the field, right? I don't feel like we're leaving it on the field right now. I think we're afraid to put ourselves out there. And when I say we, I mean Democrats, I mean progressives in a more broad sense. And that's why I think that folks like AOC, folks like Bernie Sanders resonate with people because they're not afraid to put themselves out there and to be like, this is who we are. Unapologetically, right? And I think we're going to get a lot farther doing that than we are by trying to placate these subsets of individuals who are never going to support us in a broader sense, right? And they're just not aligned with the values, right? And maybe we'll win some of them over by being our true selves and saying, like, this is who we are. Not just us, this is who we are as Americans. This is who we are. This is the covenant we've made. We are all here to look out for each other. We're all here to support each other. That's why we pay taxes. That's why we vote. And it's, you want to call it socialism or communism and try and label it some sort of bad word. Fine, fuck it. I am a socialist. I am a communist at the end of the day, right? We are a semi-socialist society. That's what we've created here with Medicare, with civil rights, with voting rights, and all of these, the Bill of Rights, right? It's a socialist constitution, and we have. The more we embrace that and to say, fuck you if you want to label me, we're going to get a lot further with everybody, not just Latino men, but everybody, because the majority of people here buy into that, and they want to see us stand up and be ourselves.
And on Wednesdays too, we end up talking about this stuff about men. I'm going to spend zero time on this, but it's like for the longest time, men were like 70%, 80% of college grads, 70% of enrollees, and now it's like the fucking pendulum swung, but it just got barely past the center, and it's the fucking Cuban Missile Crisis for young men. That's like
right. So let's try to embrace more of the us mentality than the them mentality, or the us and them, right? We're in this together. We're all here. We got to work with each other in some way, and we all do. We're here because we share a lot of the same goals for our lives, and I don't see why we need to water things down and take the DEI out of our language to ensure that we don't face blowback. If you're not getting blowback, if you're not hearing pushback, you're not doing anything, right? You're not actually accomplishing anything. You're just sort of sitting there treading water and hoping that no one notices that you're there. Whereas if you're actually working towards a better future, yeah, you're going to get blowback. 100% you're going to get blowback. And you're not going to hear from the people who, all the people who support you. You're going to hear a lot from the negative detractors. But you have to remember that that is a small subset of who you're dealing with. The majority of people, if you step up for their values, they're going to support you. They just may not write you an email to say, oh, I fucking love you. You're so fantastic. Keep going, right? And you just got to deal with that and live with that understanding, right? But again, if you embrace it, I think that people will be there for you, and I really hope that Democrats do that as we lead up to the midterms and to the next presidential election.
And speaking of moving on, we're going to move on to and another thing. I like this. I am in favor of this. The Billboard companies probably like it too because it's money.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so there's a lovely young lady locally who's looking for love in all the places. Let's just say, yeah, right or wrong. Let's find out more.
This is what taking your chances at finding love to new heights looks like.
I'm looking for a husband. I'm looking for a committed relationship and hopefully the love of my life.
For almost a month, Bay Area resident and bachelorette Lisa Catalano decided to put herself out there. And when we say out there, we mean on 6 to 7 billboards on Highway 101.
Oh, she's aiming for a certain kind of husband based on the locations of those billboards.
Very much so. An Atherton husband. Wouldn't we all, though? Come on.
San Francisco. This is pretty bold. What happened that you said, this is the approach that I'm going to take?
Every time I got a little frustrated with the dating scene within Silicon Valley and the Bay Area, I would work a little bit on my website. And it started off kind of as almost a joke, like I'm just going to make my own website. Then it just kind of, I was thinking, maybe that's not that crazy
Squarespace
of an
template
idea
that is.
after all. And so I decided, okay, well, I got to promote the website somehow. And what's more local than a billboard?
All hoping the one or someone who may know him leads him to her. Her ad is straight to the point. MaryLisa.com. Her website is her personal application collection service. This is where her future husband can apply.
I'm looking for somebody who would be compatible with me on things like religious views, politics, healthy lifestyle, and someone who's ready to get married and have kids in the future.
She's fucking basic.
One thing about Lisa, she is not taking any chances and simply relying on billboards. She's also keeping an eye out when she's out and about.
I have flyers, business cards, just in case I'm somewhere in person and I want to network.
So if you see someone that you like, you're like, hey.
Oh, I could definitely do that, yeah.
She said her search recently went viral when she posted it on TikTok, leading to an influx of applicants. How many applications have you gotten?
Oh gosh, I don't know because my phone's been going off.
And even though she wouldn't reveal how much she's investing in this, she can definitely take a joke. Okay, so your billboards are on the highway, so is it your way or the highway?
That's not the best. We need that other reporter.
I think I'm very easy to get along with.
Lisa says she's hopeful all this will be worth it when she meets the one. And just in case, we wanted to help. And if your future husband is watching right now, what do you want to say to him?
I'm real. This entire project is real.
And you need to tell me your credit score.
Serious. Finding the love of my life.
For now, the search continues.
I spit and don't swallow. Sorry.
Yeah, it was all up like fucking 101 from San Jose to San Francisco.
I mean, I honestly, if I was looking for love, I wouldn't be. No offense, per se, I wouldn't be putting up the billboards in Oakland. To be honest with you.
Why not?
She knows what's going to butter her bread. Yeah, my first
you might get good graffiti on your billboard that'll attract attention.
That's true. It's got more character. Although she looks like she's got digital billboards going on. That seems to be her style, which is probably cheaper than renting out like a traditional billboard and more environmentally friendly. I at first glance, I was like, well, I mean, this woman's not unattractive, and she probably has some things going for her. Maybe a job. So she has some sort of gameful life where she can afford to spend time, buying up billboard space and creating a website and an app or whatever. So I'm like, has this really been a challenge for you to find someone compatible with that? But that makes me think she is kind of basic or a little extra, maybe. But good on her. Like I don't know these days. Like the Good Wife. I realized the Good Wife and I have been dating and or married it's going on 13 years in a couple months here, and I don't have any fucking clue like what I would be doing out there, like in the dating scene. Like, I don't envy you, producer Dave. I don't know how I would meet the love of my life or find anyone even worth like going home with and having a shag. To be honest with you, other than like going to one of your shows and
what is it? Nature finds a way.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I would go to one of your shows and do a little disco dance, and hopefully, if I didn't embarrass myself enough, one of the folks there might find me remotely attractive, and get drunk enough that I looked, somewhat, palatable, and take me home with them, right? And that's happened a couple of times back in the day before The Good Wife, but I would have no idea how to do it these days. So, hey, Billboard, I'm not going to poo-poo you for billboards, websites. What's the difference between like Tinder and this, right? Not a whole lot, except that you're paying for the space, right? So good on her. I hope Lisa finds love, but I also think, I can't imagine how many applications and, interest and inquiries she's getting from, bots and other stalkers, right? Like that worries me a little bit. That said, I think that, she seems savvy enough to, weed that out. But and figure out a process and a protocol for how to find the good ones. But, I can't begrudge anyone looking for love. It's hard to find love out there, and so many of us have so much love to give, and it's unfortunate when someone really wants to find love and just can't. Right? There are some people out there that just don't want to get married. They don't have any interest in kids, and that's totally fine. Like, that's actually probably the rational way to think these days. But for someone who really does want that, right? Like, I feel bad because it really is challenging to find that out there. And are the Good Wife and I like perfect match? The Catholic Church didn't think we were. We did a compatibility test and we scored 12%. 12%. But we've been together for 13 years. So go figure, well, right?
The Catholic Church is the kind of place where like a 12-year-old boy scores 100% with the pastor. So
zing. But so. I cannot begrudge it. More power to you, Lisa. I really hope you find your soulmate. I'm already taken, so sorry. But she sounds Italian, so I hope she finds a good Italian boy out there, or someone who's willing to treat her right. More power to everyone out there who's looking for love. I really do hope you find it.
Well, that was a great show. We ran a little long, but it was fine. We were off for a week, and then we were not live the week before, so the audience is probably glad to see you. Speaking of seeing you, now you're the only one on the screen. You want to read the show out?
Oh my goodness, I have so much power and expectation here to live up to. Wonderful. Well, thank you as always for joining me, Producer Dave, and for running the dials, and for putting on this show and this network. It's truly a gem in our community, and I hope that more folks tune in, download, and watch both Downballot and all of our wonderful Echoplex Media programming. Hope you have a great week out there. We will see you next Tuesday. In the meantime, make sure you get vaxxed. The new COVID vaccinations are out, and folks in California are bucking the system and bucking the federal trend and getting them. So please do. I got mine last week. Make sure you're masking up when it's appropriate. Pants are totally optional. We're going to leave you some audible smoke, and we will see you in a week, 7:30 p.m. Tuesday nights. Please download. Please watch. Please tell your friends. Peace out.
Time to get the party started. Pick up my phone just to check and see who's calling. Dress up real nice for the ladies at the bar, and I'm driving in my car just to get to where they are. Here at the local scene is where I plant my feet. It's where I smoke my cigarette and I hold my drink. I look at all my friends, they're all blazing greens. Here at the front of the stage, waiting for MTV. Where are those guys who's standing next to me with a pipe in his hand, ready to blaze for me? About 5 minutes later, we're all singing Queen. Now get the fuck up on stage, man, rock the scene, yeah. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. I turn and head back to the bar for a refill, man. cause you know where we are. We're headed out to the car to smoke another one and another one. Now just when the magic starts kicking in, I hear relapse playing, you know it's time to head in. Alright everybody, now it's time to grab a new drink, spark it if you got it, and then pass it to me. Yeah, we do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. Last up on the bill for the show tonight is Down and Dirty and 5, so we're headed outside to spark up another joint. Now who's got my lighter? Stoner E, of course, shouldn't you be inside?
I'm all up in this bitch, being who I gotta be. I'm fucked up like the U.S. economy. The truth is that I don't think logically. Stoner E take you on a psychedelic odyssey. Now inside motherfuckers is rocking me, and outside shit we smoke a lot of broccoli. Rocky the roller, yo, that sexy girl be jocking me. Ain't too drunk to fuck, but I'll probably do it sloppily.
We do what we wanna do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy the band, enjoy the band. We do what we wanna do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band.
Molly say that he like jamming, and he hope he like jamming too. Well, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yes, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Well, Bob Marley said that he like jamming, and he hope he like jamming too. Well, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yes, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yeah,
we do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want, and what we wanna do, what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. We do what we wanna do, what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back